every child, every person has the right to communicate. And it is up to you to figure out how you will equip the child with that strategy. But I think there was a major role that had to be played by the non-disabled population, the 90% of the population of the country. Because people with disabilities are only 10% by rough estimate. If the 90% don't play their role, there is no way that the lives of people with disabilities is going to change, because they were the decision maker. The principal is the decision maker, the employer is the decision maker, the architect, doctor, you name it. I was also clear that the 90% of the population who doesn't know anything about disability and does not want to know anything about disability, how can I make it accessible to them? So for me, it was a creative medium. There was a gap. Nobody was working with them. They were talking about awareness. They were talking that this had to be done. But no one was truly working with that community. No politics. I'm interested in awareness. Whoever is willing to help me doing that, I am your friend. It's as simple as that.
Hello and welcome to the India Autism Center podcast. We are at the Purple Fest Goa 2025 as the official podcast partners. And today I have somebody very special with me, Ritika Sahni, founder of Trinayani, one of India's most prolific singers as well, somebody who's created a board game, somebody who's helped with deaf and music. She'll tell us what that means. I think she's done so much that it would be fair to call her a polymath. I don't know whether we'll be able to cover every area of her life as well in one podcast. I think we might need a series of podcasts with her at some point. Ritika, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Nipun, for calling me. Absolutely thrilled to be able to talk to someone as eloquent as you.
I haven't done as much in life and I'm much younger than you. So should I call you auntie or madam? Or can I call you Ritika?
You're most welcome to call me what you want. I always tell people that I know I may look young, but I'm not as young. And please feel free to call me what you want to call me. I'm happy with everything.
I'll take the leverage to call you Ritika then.
All right, then. Do that.
Ritika, you do not come from a family of persons with disabilities.
No.
And you are not a person with a disability yourself either.
No.
But you yet chose to work in the space of disability, which I think is very rare and unique in India. How did that happen?
I may not be from a family of persons with disabilities, but I truly believed in volunteering. So when I was doing my class 12 and my graduation, I was always wanting to volunteer, and I started volunteering with an organization in Calcutta working with students with autism. So every time I would get a break, I would work with them. In one of those breaks...
Which organization was this?
This was Abhinav Bharti. This is Mano Vikas Kendra. Now it's called Mano Vikas Kendra. It's a very big organization in Kolkata, even now. In one of the breaks, they had shifted. Mano Vikas Kendra had shifted from where I'd gone to another area in Kolkata. And so I started going there. But while I was visiting that place, every time I would go there, outside the school, I would see a couple of adults talking to each other. Now I know it was sign language, signing to each other and laughing and smiling. And it just fascinated me that they were communicating, that communication aspect of it. Another day I saw them communicating with each other in that language and then suddenly talking to somebody and speaking. So I realized that, oops, they were also speaking. And being me, I just walked up to the school to said, I want to learn that. I want to learn that language. And Mrs. Rita Joshi, being a good leader, said, she immediately said, would you like to do your B.Ed in Deaf Education? I had just finished my graduation. So I think, Nipun, to understand how I have lived my life, the one thing that you need to understand is I have allowed myself to flow. So I'm fluid. I flow with the tide. I accept whatever I get with grace, and whatever I think is not for me, I'm happy to just detach myself.
You're living in the moment.
I'm living in the moment. She said that, and she had no idea I would say yes, and I said yes. And at that point of time, it was 90. Ali Awar Jung only, the institute was running B.Ed only at their main center, Mumbai. There were no regional centers at that point of time. And every state was sending in one person. So she nominated me to go from West Bengal to Ali Awar to do my B.Ed in Deaf Education. And that's how the whole journey started. So went back, and then started working with her. And that's where, excuse me, the music came on board. Because I was always, I'd done, by that time, I had already done my, music as a subject in my higher secondary, in my graduation. I started working with the Oral School for Deaf Children once I got back, because that was a deal, correct? That you do your B.Ed, you come back and you work with me. And she asked me to start doing music with students, younger students.
How does music with deaf students even work?
So, deaf students there were also wearing hearing aids. They were all hearing aid users. And interestingly, one needs to understand that deafness is rarely total and complete. There are always pockets of certain decibels that you can hear in the range of speech range. So I would take a lot of instruments and play the instruments and get them to feel the membrane of let's say a drum. And that I could see the spark in their eyes when they felt that that the membrane was bursting out only at a certain beat, to which allowed me to tell him that 1 2 3 4 1 2. That's what it was doing.
Music appreciation for them.
Music appreciation. And since they were also sign language users, we would teach them. I would sing and I would teach them songs in sign language way back in 90. So I was able to do certain things, which now it's, you can see what's happening at the Purple Fest.
Yeah, in fact, I remember when Coldplay came, they gave these jackets to people with vibrations, etc.
Correct.
It did a lot of news, but you were doing this 35 years back.
Absolutely. So this was something that I was doing so long back. And I was so fascinated by it that I decided to study more on it. And therefore applied to an institute which taught you how to do all this with deaf students, which wanted 17 years of education. I was short of 1. So I enrolled myself to do Masters in Music from the Rabindra Bharati University in Kolkata. I'm a gold medalist from there, first class first. However, I did not realize that they didn't have any scholarship. So that didn't happen, but I continued to use music in fact, now I use music, as you know, with my friends with different disabilities. It's no longer just with the deaf people. I use music in a very big way with everything we do at Trinayani.
And this is around which year that you did this Masters in Music course?
91.
91. And then after that, you continued working in Calcutta in the district space.
I worked in Kolkata with the Oral School for Deaf Children. This was thrice a week. And twice a week, I used to work with the Indian Institute of Cerebral Palsy, who worked with the people with cerebral palsy and multiple disabilities. And interestingly, the communication there, they were using another communication strategy. So I've always been fascinated by communication, Therefore, music for me is also a way to communicate. They were using, we have a very interesting gentleman, I think, called Sayom Dev, who was there at that point of time, who's also now in the disability sector, who was my student. And he would communicate through...
We've interviewed him for this podcast.
All right. So yeah. If you know, Den at that point of time, communicated through alternative and augmentative communication strategies. So that my stint at the IICP exposed me to communication strategies that you need to develop. Also exposed me to understand that every child, every person has the right to communicate. And it is up to you to figure out how you will equip the child with that strategy. So for me, even AAC for that matter, which I was doing this way back in 91. So that's what I was doing there, working with children who were deaf and had other disabilities. So deaf and cerebral palsy, deaf person who was blind, deaf person.
So multiple disabilities.
Multiple disabilities. So that's something I did and I continued to do this till I shifted to Bombay, yes.
You shifted to Bombay in 1999?
99 finally, 99. But I stopped working there by about 96, 97.
And you shifted to Bombay because you were one of the first signees by Sony.
The female debut artist, yes.
Along with KK.
Along with KK. KK was a male debut artist. I was a female debut artist, and loads of auditions, because by that time I'd already released albums in Bengali. I was already performing in Bengal and doing a lot of title songs, as they say, for serials, Hindi and Bengali, since I'm a Punjabi by birth. And then, of course, I got chosen, and that's when I shifted.
How was it working with KK?
Wonderful. More than working with KK, and there is no way I can say he was. It somehow doesn't come very easily. KK is a good human being, extremely down to earth. So it was great fun, and also similar in the similar boat, correct? First album uska bhi nikal raha hai, mera bhi nikal raha hai, to wo ek धक धक के भैया album के बाद क्या होगा, कौन बनाएगा, because Sony Music का ये पहला that it was their first entry into the music scene here, so even they were trying to figure out, you know, who can be the best person to make the music video or to do the music, or who are the instruments or the musicians who will come on board. So it was a very a period of a lot of confusion. Okay, what are we going to do with our lives? Who's going to do our music? So that shared emotion we had, both KK and me. So it was very interesting.
And I'm sure you ended up sensitizing about disability passion.
You will not believe, everyone in Sony Music, at that point of time, I mean, I must let you know, I joined the Spastic Society of India, which is now called ADAPT. So while I was working on my...
So you were still working on disability at this time? I thought you were taking a break.
I never took a break. I never took a break from that. So I was heading their speech and language department. So every time, you know, ये joke ban gaya tha Sony Music के office में कि Ritika ji, and I love producing music for children. I was doing it even then. So please let Ritika know today she has to be there. Find out if she's going to the institute. So there was a whole thing that I was working. Everybody knew that I was very fascinated about the disability sector, and I was very passionate about not giving that up just because I was doing something with music.
You founded Trinayani in 2006.
Yes.
What inspired you to start Trinayani?
So while I was working, you know, I'd already done a lot of work with organizations in Bengal. Besides ISCP and besides Oral School, I was also working with many other organizations in the periphery, in the other cities. And then I worked with ADAPT. I realized that, you know, with people with disabilities or with parents, I mean, the one thing that all of us want, all parents want, is what any other parent wants. You want to have your child go through the motions of life and study and work and get married and have children and become an income taxpayer. And I realized that was going to be, and all of us were doing our bit. Physiotherapist, speech therapist, everybody was playing their role. But I think there was a major role that had to be played by the non-disabled population, the 90% of the population of the country, because people with disabilities are only 10% by rough estimate. If the 90% don't play their role, there is no way that the lives of people with disabilities is going to change, because they were the decision maker. The principal is the decision maker, the employer is the decision maker, the architect, doctor, you name it. So I was very clear. And I thought there was a gap. Nobody was working with them. They were talking about awareness. They were talking that this had to be done, but no one was truly working with that community. So Trinayani, if I may tell you what it means, it's three-eyed. It's the other name for goddess Durga. And we talk about the higher perception. We're talking about consciousness. We're talking about getting people to understand their own biases and their own assumptions and their own stereotypes, challenging your own concerns. So for me, I didn't want to play the blame game. कि आप क्यों नहीं नौकरी दे रहे, आप क्यों नहीं बच्चे को ले रहे. मैं कह रही हूँ कि हो सकता है कि आप ये नहीं कर रहे क्योंकि आपको किसी ने इनके बारे में बताया नहीं है. आपके लिए तो ये एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करते. तो चलिए मैं आपको बताती हूँ इनके बारे में, इनकी क्षमताओं के बारे में, इनके लिमिटेशंस के बारे में, इनकी स्ट्रेंथ के बारे में, ताकि आपकी सोच में ये अंदर आए. पहले सोच में तो आए पहले, उसके बाद तो एक्ट कर पाएंगे आप. तो त्रिनयनी की स्थापना मैंने बिल्कुल इसलिए किया था, that to be able to talk to the non-disabled population of the country, and the world was my stage, correct? And then I realized slowly, Nipun, by 2010, that I also needed to talk to the disabled community, to people with disabilities, because even they had to change their attitudes.
Could you tell me about your specific interventions that you've done for the non-disabled community?
Yes. So we started with film. So actually, it's so funny, because I've always been an entertainer. I was also clear that the 90% of the population who doesn't know anything about disability and does not want to know anything about disability, how can I make it accessible to them? So for me, it was a creative medium. Everybody likes to listen to music. Everybody likes to see films. So from day one of creating Trinayani, all of us started using the creative medium to get to them. So our very first campaign was a film festival in 10 schools in Kolkata. Trinayani is based out of, is registered out of Kolkata. I work out of Mumbai and we work everywhere. So we did that. So we did a film screening. अब देखिए We Care Film Festival हमारे सतीश जी कर रहे हैं. We Care, by the way, मेरा दिया हुआ नाम है.
अच्छा.
मेरा दिया, मैं सतीश जी को तब जानती थी, लेकिन ये हमारा फिल्म फेस्टिवल 2006 से चल रहा है. 2006 में किया. उसके बाद हमने एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग चीज.
ऐसे फेस्टिवल्स में खाली कन्वर्ट्स नहीं आएंगे वैसे?
No, this I only do, it was done in mainstream schools.
Oh, it was in mainstream schools. Okay.
All our work is
because I mean, the weekend festival is something which I feel that, you know, it's a great initiative, but only the converts would come to.
Yeah. It should. But our work is only with the mainstream schools, completely with.
Oh, that's fantastic. Then. Yeah.
तो वो उनके साथ हमने किया. Again, my brother Ritika Sahni and the vice chairman of the Trinayani is also a gallerist. He's a gallery.
Sitting right outside us right now.
He's sitting right. So he's also a gallerist, and so we decided to do a 10-day residential visual art workshop called Triumph Together. We had artists from across the country. We created 5 teams, 3 each. One student with disability. Two students with disabilities collaborated with an upcoming artist there. And I will, at some point of time, whenever I meet you, I will show you the products that came out. So that was our first 10-day residential visual art workshop. After that, we have, of course, you know, as a consultant in disability inclusion and trainer, I curate workshops. So we curated the first airline to do sensitization workshops. And I think that was the first time any airline did it. Was in 2013 when I curated 2.5-day workshop for Indigo Airlines. ये हमने 2013 में किया था उनके लिए. उसके बाद हमने.
Was this Indigo's the start of Indigo's inclusive journey?
Absolutely.
Because today I think that India's best at every.
So you know, at that point of time, and that was, I remember Mr. Aditya was the CEO.
Aditya Ghosh, yeah.
Aditya Ghosh. I just talked to him. I said कि apparently आप हर चीज में आपका नाम आ रहा है. तो अब ये जो आकाश है इसको inclusive भी बना दीजिए. It didn't take him a minute to decide.
No. In fact, I've met him as well. He's very open to feedback and very passionate. Yeah.
2.5 days. And what you need to understand, Nipun, is for everything we did from day 1 in 2006 till date, 2025, every initiative of us, campaign of us, project of us, always has people with disabilities along with it. I first go to someone and say, I have certain friends who play the devil's advocate, who are friends with disabilities. What do you feel? Will it work? Will it not work? So it is nothing about us without us. जो अभी बाद में मंत्र आया वो मैं 90 से कर रही हूँ, क्योंकि वो मैं तो नहीं हूँ disabled. तो मैं कौन होती हूँ decisions बनाने वाली? मैं passionate हूँ तो मैं जान लगा दूंगी, लेकिन जिसके बारे में बात की जा रही है वो तो यहाँ तो आपके बगल में बैठे या पीछे बैठ के आपको आवाज दे और आपको इन्फॉर्म करे. वो बहुत ज़रूरी था मेरे लिए, पहले दिन से बहुत ज़रूरी था. सो मेरे इसीलिए डिसेबिलिटी क्षेत्र में आई हैव लोड्स ऑफ फ्रेंड्स, बिकॉज फॉर मी नो पॉलिटिक्स. आई एम इंटरेस्टेड इन अवेयरनेस. whoever is willing to help me doing that, I am your friend. It's as simple as that. We did the first radio show on All India Radio. My 3rd season of the radio show. Radio show was called मुड़ के ना देख. गाना याद है? मुड़ के ना देख, मुड़ के ना देख, मुड़ के. तो मुड़ के ना देख नाम से मैंने
जल्दी बंद कर दिया गाना. इतनी जल्दी का नाम बंद कर दिया आपने.
तो
वो मैं क्यों सिंग लेता हूं.
तो वो एक हमने नाम रखा 2 कारणों के लिए. एक तो है, हम कहते हैं अक्सर, दो आई डोंट बिलीव इन इट, कि जो नॉन डिसेबल्ड है वो आपकी तरफ देखते रहते हैं. ठीक है, लेकिन मेरा मानना है कि अगर नहीं देखेंगे तो फिर प्रश्न कैसे पूछेंगे आपसे. I can understand ये.
मेरा एक दूसरा strategy था.
मैं बताओ.
When I was in school and you know if somebody used to stare at me etc, I used to ask them क्या मैं शाहरुख खान से भी ज्यादा handsome.
वो एक conversation शुरू की ना तुमने, एक किया ना शुरू, तो अगर वो आपकी तरफ देखेगा ही नहीं तो हम अगर वो ना देखे तो हम कहते हैं वो indifferent है, हमें इग्नोर कर रहा है. तो ये थोड़ा डाइसी है. और दूसरा था डिसेबल्ड इंसान को कहना कि जो हो गया है वो हो गया है, अब मुड़ के ना देखो, सामने देखो, क्या कर सकते हो वो देखो, क्या हो सकता.
So this was an educational show where you
It was a show where I interviewed. So the last broadcast was in 17 cities in our country on All India Radio, FM Gold, FM Rainbow and Vivid Bharti. And I took there were 8 episodes, 8 topics: disability and sports, disability and technology, disability and sexuality, disability and education, and there was another one. तो इन सब टॉपिक्स को लेके एंड आई वुड ट्रैवल अक्रॉस द कंट्री टू टेक टू इंटरव्यू द पर्सन हु कुड बेस्ट स्पीक अबाउट इट, बिकॉज ये हिंदी में था ऑल इंडिया रेडियो में. तो ये हमने किया. तो एक्चुअली अपने मुंह से बोल रही हूँ निपुण, लेकिन हमने बहुत सारे फर्स्ट टाइम्स किए हैं. अब त्रिनयनी, क्योंकि मैं उस तरह से अकेली चलाती हूँ संस्था को, आई एम नॉट, अब वो पब्लिसिटी और प्रमोशन उस तरफ से मैं नहीं करती, लेकिन हमने कुछ अच्छे काम किए हैं.
आपने बहुत गलती कर दी है.
क्यों क्या कर दिया?
आपने मेरा फेवरेट फर्स्ट टाइम आपका जो है वो तो बताया नहीं. आपकी बोर्ड गेम आपने बनाई है.
गेम्स कहाँ है? वो गेम्स लेके आई हूँ ना.
Somebody pass the board game. What?
थैंक यू. अच्छा, तो तुम्हारा फेवरेट है, तुम खरीद भी लो, दे दो 1500 हमें.
रिकॉर्डिंग जैसे ही खत्म हुआ अभी गूगल पे कर दूंगा.
So 2015 में निपुण, there are 4 Delhi public schools owned by a friend of mine, Delhi Public School पुणे, लुधियाना, पटना, कोयम्बटूर. उनका एक एनुअल थीम होता है और बड़ी डिलीजेंटली रिलीजियसली वो बहुत सालों से कर रहे हैं. तो मैंने कहा कि भैया 1 साल मुझको दे दो. तो मैंने 1 साल सेलिब्रेटिंग डाइवर्सिटी डिफरेंसेस इन नोइंग का 1 साल का उनके लिए कार्यक्रम किया. और वो साल त्रिनयनी ने और कुछ नहीं किया, बिकॉज मैंने उनके लिए आई इन्फ्यूज्ड डिसेबिलिटी अवेयरनेस लेसन्स इन द हिस्ट्री, जियोग्राफी, रोबोटिक्स, साइंस, यू नेम इट, एंड इट वाज पार्ट ऑफ देयर लेसन, नॉट इम्पोज्ड. उनकी असेंबली, उनकी स्पोर्ट्स, उनका
डाइवर्सिटी वाज इंटीग्रेटेड इनटू
देयर
campus life,
कैंपस लाइफ फॉर 1 year. उस वक्त जब मैं कर रही थी तो मैंने कहा अभी भी कुछ चीज बाकी है. आई एम स्टिल नॉट बीइंग एबल टू, आई मीन, भाषण है, आई हैव अ स्नेक्स एंड लैडर, ह्यूज स्नेक्स एंड लैडर, बहुत कुछ है, और हम क्या कर सकते हैं. इसकी नींव वो 2015 में पड़ी. मैंने कहा लेट्स सी इफ यू कैन क्रिएट गेम्स, लेट्स सी दैट. इट टुक अस 4 years. A lot of R&D, a lot of pilot in 3 cities, and this a very dear friend of mine, Padma Shastri from Samam Vidya, is also part of this. हमने finally 2020 में, just before COVID, और हमारी तो जान निकल गई, इसको रिलीज किया. उसके बाद 2-3 दिन के बाद वो कोविड का अनाउंस हो गया. तो हमें बहुत खराब लगा कि भैया हम रिलीज करके अब क्या प्रमोशन करें. लेकिन एक बड़ी अच्छी चीज हुई, बताऊंगी. तो ये है टुवर्ड्स इंक्लूजन 6 थ्रिलिंग कार्ड गेम्स ऑन डिसेबिलिटी अवेयरनेस. तो ये जो किताब है ये 2015 में उनके लिए बनाई थी निपुण. इसमें एक ओरिजिनल स्टोरी है विद पीपल विद डिसेबिलिटीज. वन इट्स अ स्टोरी इन अ consulate area. So one of them happens to be a wheelchair user. So it's called Nancy's Move to Delhi.
Okay.
Okay. So it's just, and then there are some questions. Then there are worksheets. So while you're doing English language and English literature, whatever you're doing in your classroom, you just crossword puzzle कर लिया आपने drawing में maze कर लिया, आपने match the following कर लिया, ये सब कर लिया. So ये हो गया. तो ये तो रहा. उसके बाद ये रहे आपके card games. अब all 6 card games to be played differently. This is surprise, a sorting card game, and let's play this for a minute, after I've done this.
Sure.
So Barrier Be Gone is about accessibility. You're matching barriers to solutions. This is my favorite, which talks about language of disability.
Oh, nice.
You have to match 3 appropriate phrases with 1 inappropriate phrase, and it's a speed card game. The instruction sheets are inside, so it tells you how to play this. I have an unboxing video. And we also have game tutorials for each of the videos.
But tell me the website on which people can go to buy this.
Yeah, so you can buy this game kit. It is for 1,500, and you can buy it from our website, which is disability.trinayani, disability.trinayani.org, disability.trinayani.org. And you can just type towards inclusion and Trinayani on YouTube, and you will get many videos on the unboxing videos and game tutorial videos, and even videos of people playing this all across the country. This one you get, and this is the answer booklet. So if you want some more information, do you know my card में तो सिर्फ लिखा हुआ है Deaf Olympics. Now what is Deaf Olympics? So this gives you slightly more information.
So in a fun way, somebody who knows nothing about disability will learn something about disability.
And just playing, either you're winning or you're losing. No bhashan, no dialogue. We're just playing, and I have had
And the reason I love it because disability becomes very preachy at times.
Yes, people they are fighting. नहीं वो कार्ड मेरा है. नहीं मैंने उनो बोल दिया था. So all that happens, and that's what I want. We want some fun element into disability. It's not all about boring stuff.
Yeah.
So this is where we've gamified disability awareness, and as you said, I think it's the first of its kind in the world.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing this. What's keeping you busy at the moment?
So, Nipun, we have a year-long disability awareness capacity building program for schools, and we are currently conducting it in Delhi Public School, Pune and Patna and Ludhiana, which is across the academic year, 4 quarters in a year, 2 days in each quarter, where we teach them about UDL and executive functioning, differentiated instruction. How do teachers actually do this? NEP is fine, karna hai fine. But how do they actually do it? So we've actually gone into schools to do this. And of course, you've just asked me to sing a song. So I must tell you about Pehli Barish, which is my inclusive music band, which is where I combine both my music and my passion for disability. I lead the band. My musicians are all visually impaired.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and my musicians are all visually
And where all
impaired.
have you performed?
We perform for Goldman Sachs, for Walmart twice, for Microsoft, for General Electric, for Diageo. And we have a very interesting inquiry from somewhere, and I hope that happens sometime in November this year.
And if a corporate is watching and wants to book you, how do they go ahead?
They just get in touch with me through the website. My email ID is on the website, disability.trinayani.org. Everything's on the website. They just get in touch with me and I will give them all the information they want.
Now make a pitch to them by singing a beautiful song.
Okay. तो पहले तो मैं एक अपनी फिल्म का गाना गाती हूँ जो फिल्म में गाया था मैंने सोनू निगम जी के साथ. मैं माधुरी दीक्षित बनना चाहती हूँ. एंड द सॉन्ग वाज तुमसे मिली नजर तो असर हुआ है आज यूं दिल पे. तुमसे मिली नजर तो असर हुआ है आज यूं दिल पे. चैन भी गया होश भी गया ना जाने क्या होगा कल से. This is from that film.
Fantastic.
All right. So I'll sing a song that I sang, that I've created for Trinayani. And I think you'll like that. अक्खा दुनिया गोल है, यहाँ कोई नहीं ऐसा सोल है, जो कभी नहीं हुआ हो परेशान. अक्खा दुनिया गोल है, यहाँ कोई नहीं ऐसा सोल है, जो कभी नहीं हुआ हो परेशान. पसीना बहाओगे तब मंजिल को पाओगे, यह दुनिया 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 मेरी जान. इसका जो लास्ट पैराग्राफ है उसके साथ खत्म करते हैं. इस मेले की भीड़ में हो जाओ ना गुम. इस मेले की भीड़ में हो जाओ ना गुम. हम में है कई खूबियां, सच में यूनिक हो तुम. तुम में है कई खूबियां निपुण, सच में यूनिक हो तुम. दुनिया देगी तुमको प्यार क्योंकि तुम सिंगल पीस हो मेरे यार. अक्खा दुनिया गोल है, यहाँ कोई नहीं ऐसा सोल है, जो कभी नहीं हुआ हो परेशान. पसीना बहाओगे तभी मंजिल को पाओगे, यह दुनिया 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 मेरी जान. यह दुनिया 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 मेरी जान. यह दुनिया 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 मेरी जान.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Ritika ji.
Thank you.